Hey there, it's plain white toast, just chilling on my front porch. So, what is an exquisite corpse? It's a question you get a lot when you try to organize an exquisite corpse. And since I'm not good at saving things, or at least keeping track of things that I've saved, I don't have a copy and paste explanation that I can easily put in there. So, I decided to make a quick video explaining what is an exquisite corpse. So an exquisite corpse is a collaborative songwriting game where you usually get about 5 to maybe 7 people. Each person writes about a minute to a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes of music, and they all flow together. Exquisite Corpse came out of the surrealist art movement in the early 20th century, and surrealist artists in visual medium would play this parlor game where they took a sheet of paper and folded it, and then the first person would draw a picture on the thing and it kind of continued over onto the side, but they'd fold it, so when the next person got it, they just have sort of the continuation, and then when they got to the bottom of theirs, they would fold it over, so just a little bit would get, then so you'd end up getting, a picture that was kind of 3 different artists or whatever. And so this is the musical equivalent of the visual game. And the way that we do this is the first person, you basically order them into a list. The first person on the list writes the first part of the song. And so they write about a minute and a half of music. Now you can ahead of time agree on a tempo or a key, some kind of theme if you would like to, but generally people just have at it. And results can vary as a result of that. So the first person will write their minute and a half of music or whatever, and then they will take the last approximately 10 seconds of the song that they've written, the piece of music they've written, and they will send it to the next person in line. And then that next person then takes the 10 seconds that they get and they write a minute of music that continues on from there. And then when they complete their piece, they take approximately the last 10 seconds or so. You want to have sort of a usable thing. If you just have like feedback or something ringing out at the end of your minute piece, you may want to go back and give the person, something a little bit more substantial, maybe the chord progression or a little bit of vocals or something. At least some, I don't know. It depends on how minimalistic your piece is. So yeah, and so it just continues. After the second person finishes their piece, they then send their bit to the next person, the third person in line, who then continues. They write their person based off that 10 seconds, and then they send the last 10 seconds of their piece to the next person, and so on until you get to the end. And then the other thing that everyone does is they provide the full length piece to the person who's going to be doing the mixing. The stitcher is what we've come to call them because they stitched the corpse together. Yeah, and so then the stitcher puts it together. Sometimes what people will do is they will send an example of how their piece is supposed to crossfade with the previous piece that they received. And that helps the stitcher to figure things out a little bit more, especially if it's not so obvious that it's right on a beat or something like that. Other times they'll just provide an instruction that, it starts right on the beat or just wait, or whatever. It varies. It's helpful to include sort of a sample of how you expect them to crossfade, as well as your clean and unadulterated, non-crossfaded mix down of your piece. So you send those in, the stitcher puts them all together, and then they post the song, and people listen to it for giggles and feedback. It's one of my favorite songwriting challenge games. Yeah. Exquisite Corpse.